wanna push you away. Some days people don't see you, you feel like you're in the way. Today you feel as everyone hates, pointing their finger looking at your mistakes. You do good, but they want great. No matter what you give, they still wanna take. Give your love and they throw it back. You give your heart, they go on attack. When there's nothing left for you, only thing that you can do, say today.
I remember reading a story about a girl who had lost her arms and her legs from some crazy disease or bacteria, but had no idea that anything like that would ever happen to me. The day after I graduated high school, I moved to become a massage therapist. My plan with that was so that I could travel the world and snowboard and have this job that would travel with me. I was at work one day. I started my day feeling great. After my third massage, I was exhausted. That night, my temperature was 101, which is just typical flu-like symptoms. The next morning, my temperature broke. But that afternoon, instead of feeling better, I started to feel worse. I ended up falling into the deepest sleep I have ever felt. Out of nowhere, I heard a voice say, "Amy, get up and look in the mirror." As I was sitting up, I realized that something was really wrong. My heart was beating out of my chest, I was shaking, I was weak, I could barely sit up, and I realized that I couldn't feel my feet. When I looked down at my feet, I saw that my feet were purple, and then I glanced at my hands and I saw that my hands were purple. Everything just hit at once. I was dying and I knew it. I had never heard of bacterial meningitis before. For whatever reason, I came in contact with it, didn't fight it off. Over the course of, I'd say 3 months, I ended up losing my spleen, my kidneys, the hearing in my left ear, and then both of my legs below the knees. All that mattered for me was surviving the next day and just thinking, okay, so I lost my legs, now I need to get new legs so I can walk. It was really hard to learn how to walk again. It felt so foreign, and you can't even prepare yourself for it. My motivation for walking and just getting healthy and getting through everything was honestly to snowboard again. That's where my friends were, and that's what I loved doing, and so I just thought the faster I can learn to walk, the faster I'll be able to snowboard again. It's really challenging snowboarding with prosthetic legs. Normal legs have ankle flexion. So if your ankles flex, then your knees flex. And if you don't have ankle flexion, like with most prosthetic feet, then your knees don't really bend. When I first started snowboarding, I just went up in my walking feet, and in my mind and in my body, I knew how to ride, but my legs weren't allowing me to do what I was used to them doing. Put me on this journey of trying to figure out a setup and feet that would work for me so that I could snowboard again. Right now, every foot that's on the market is for walking. There's 0 feet for snowboarding. The foot that I snowboard in now is a walking foot. I customize my feet. I end up putting heel lifts underneath the heel. That puts me on my toe edge. It also helps my knees bend. And then I take this little red tab off, and this lever moves, so it's kind of like an articulating ankle. When I lost my legs, I had no idea what my life would be like. I had no idea what was possible, how far I could go, if I could snowboard again. But I completely believed in myself, enough to where now, through a lot of trial and error, I'm doing these things. If I had the opportunity to suddenly have my legs back, I wouldn't take it. because of what I've gone through, I've been able to go on and do all this great stuff and work with amazing people and help people and just honestly live the life of my dreams, which I don't know if that would have happened had I not lost my legs. It's not a matter of you can do anything. The reality is we can't do anything. I mean, I've got 2 prosthetic legs. Like, there are certain things that maybe are not possible.
I can hold my breath. I can bite my tongue. I can dance and play the part if that's what you ask. Give you all I am. I can do it, but I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. I'm only human, and I crash and I break down. Your words in my head, knives in my heart. You build me up and then I fall apart, 'cause I'm only human.
Amy, Derek, Amy's dad.
If anyone present objects to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your peace. Well, yeah. You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say yeah, 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 yeah. Say you will. Say it right now, baby. Come on, come on. Say you will. Say that out of you. Come on now. Say that you love me. Say that you need me. Say that you want me. You wanna please me. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. I want you to know. Said I want you to know right now. Hey, you've been good to me, baby. Said I've been too tough. Hey, yes, if you ever please me, I don't want nobody else. Hey, you know you make me wanna. Hey,
Amy and Derek. That's how you wrap up party night. Oh my God. All right. Come on over here. Wonderful. Great job.
I'm dying. I'm dying. I know I am. I have to get to the hospital right now. I started to realize that there was something really, really wrong. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was so shaky. I was so weak. And I realized that I couldn't feel my feet. When I glanced to the floor, I saw that my feet were purple. And when I glanced at my hands, I saw that my hands were purple. And when I looked at my reflection in the mirror, I saw that my nose, my chin, and my cheeks were purple as well. I was dying, and I knew it. I immediately began to panic. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was seeing tunnel vision. I was sicker than I could ever explain. As I lay in a coma, that the doctors diagnosed me with something called meningococcal meningitis, which is a vaccine-preventable blood infection. I was given less than a 2% chance of living and immediately put on life support. We have no idea how I got it, so for all I know, somebody could have sneezed on me when I was in the elevator at work, and maybe that's how I got it. But due to this little microscopic bacteria, over the course of 2.5 months, I ended up losing my spleen, I lost my kidney function, I lost the hearing in my left ear, and due to the septic shock that my body went into, I ended up losing both of my legs below the knees. My life changed like that. I went from being a normal 19-year-old without a care in the world to now relying on machines, mechanics, and medical innovation in order to live and in order to even survive. And I thought the worst was over. That is, until I saw my new legs for the very first time. They were these bulky blocks of metal with pipes bolted together for the ankles. I don't know who designed these feet, you know, they try to make them look real, but they look like they were straight out of the plumbing department of Home Depot. They were hideous. And with my mom by my side and just tears streaming down our faces, I strapped on these chunky legs and I stood up. I was absolutely physically and emotionally broken. The thought of living the rest of my life with these hunks of hardware as my legs was depressing and overwhelming. And little did I know at that time that my biggest loss, my legs, would eventually become my biggest asset. But I think as soon as I got so sick and tired of being sick and tired, I knew that in order to move forward with my life, I had to somehow learn how to let go of the old Amy and somehow learn to embrace the new Amy. And that is when it dawned on me that the old Amy, I don't know, was maybe 5'5", but the new Amy, she could be 6 foot tall. I could be as tall as I wanted, or I could be as short as I wanted, depending on who I was dating at the time. It was times like these that first prompted me to ask myself, if my life were a book, and I was the author of that book, how would I want this story to go? I saw myself walking gracefully, and I saw myself somehow helping other people through my journey, and I saw myself snowboarding again. And I didn't just see myself carving down this mountain of powder, I visualized it so strongly that I could actually feel it. I could feel the wind against my face and the beat of my racing heart as if it was happening in that very moment. And that passion and that fire that I felt inside, that is when a new chapter of my life began. I was back up on a snowboard 4 months after losing my legs, although things didn't go quite as expected. I hit this bump completely out of control, and I fell, and my goggles went one way, and my beanie went the other way, and my legs, still attached to my snowboard, went flying down the mountain. And meanwhile, I was still sitting up on top of the mountain, completely embarrassed. I wasn't expecting that at all, and actually I heard a lady scream from the chairlift, which I'm sure she racked up years of therapy bills. Anyways, I remember I was just so discouraged, you know, and I could have easily thought, well, this is impossible. I obviously can't snowboard with 2 prosthetic legs. But I thought, if I could figure out a way to get my legs to move in the way that I need them to, and if I could figure out a way to keep these detachable body parts attached to my body, then I would be able to do this again. And that's when I learned that the obstacles and the challenges in our lives can only do 2 things. 1, stop us dead in our tracks, or 2, force us to get creative. So I decided to make a pair myself. My leg maker and I, we put random parts together, and we made a pair of feet that I could snowboard in. And believe it or not, these babies actually worked like a charm. But it was these legs and the best 21st birthday gift that I could ever receive, a new kidney from my dad, that allowed me to follow my dreams and to snowboard again. And then I went on to be the first ever female to win a bronze medal in Paralympic snowboarding.
you. I've learned it's that change and it's that challenge that forces us to figure out what we're really made of. It makes us dig deep. It makes us find our fire, and it makes us get creative, because that's the only way to reach beyond the reality of this current moment, is by accepting what is, but most importantly, daydreaming of what could be. If you asked me today if I would ever want to change my situation, I would tell you guys no. Because my legs haven't disabled me. If anything, they enabled me. They forced me to rely on my imagination and to believe in the possibilities. And that's why I believe that our imaginations are huge tools for breaking through all the borders in our lives, because in our minds, we can do anything and we can be anything. It's believing in our dreams and facing our fears head on that allows us to live our lives beyond our limits.
There's some things you should let go. They're only gonna pull you down. Just like weight on your shoulder, they're only gonna make you drown. We all swing high, we all swing low. We all got secrets people don't know. We all got dreams we can't let go. We wanna be brave, don't be afraid. No. Today, live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and throw it in a fire. In a fire, in a fire. Fight like a warrior. Today, live like you wanna. Let yesterday burn and throw it in a fire. In a fire, in a fire. Live like a warrior. Your heart is too heavy from things you carry a long time. Been up, you've been down. Tired and you're going